Take off those stilettos and we can drink some wine. Yeah, I'm a freak like that. God, don't be scared, cause I'm gentle from the back. They call me Mr. Skinner when I make it like that.
The way you move it, baby, yeah, it's driving me crazy. And you should use your loving to taste me. I need a fly chick to upgrade me. She amazing for the sexy lady. The way you move is driving me crazy. And you should use your loving to taste me. I need a fly chick to upgrade me. She amazing.
I love a low pro down south girl. All black, nice rack, yeah, I need her in my world. Love at first sight, told her how to ride a bike. You would think she wilded out, but she keep that thing tight. She got a lot of ball when she bites. Standing tall like an Oscar, yeah, that girl super tight. I said it on the right, I don't know, yeah, she might. Let a motherfucker wipe her off in Cali like 2 dice, right? She hand it to you, take it back like sight. The way she wear them shorts, she make me harder than a pipe. I like it. Oh, man, I ain't got nothing to say. Fuck that shit, man.
She amazing.
The way you move, it really turns me on. Got my nose open wide. I don't know what is wrong. I can go on and on, but this thing don't last that long. Come on and go with me. Jump up in the Chevy.
She amazing. She amazing.
Slow down. Slow down. Slow down.
Hey, baby, your hips was getting big. Now you're getting thin, you don't care about your wig. Now, Wooly Willie got a pair of my sneakers. One way down because I hit him behind my.
Welcome back to the show. Man, paying special tribute to the great Brand Nubian.
Kids love to feel on your feds, got a seal on your street time is limited today. On your crack
Yeah, as well as talking about these sports. Don't forget, coming up immediately following me at 1 p.m. Eastern Time today, we've got Jeff Fox with the Jeff Fox Show, 1 p.m. once again, coming to you live from Miami, Florida, right here on WSME. And then he's followed at 2 p.m. by John Fisher, Cooking with a Microwave, Patty Cake Microwave, right here on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network as well. But right now, joining me on the line is my man Lang Green, senior NBA writer, Basketball Insiders, today on the Doug Stewart Show. Lang, what's going on, bruh?
Doug, mama, I've made it. I'm on the show, bro. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, man, you know what? And so Lang, I mentioned it earlier, Lang is actually one of my chapter bros, the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And we don't do a lot of guests on the show, man. I probably should do a lot more. We talk to beat writers and whatnot. But you're the first one in a long time, bro. I appreciate you coming on.
Listen, man, I'm honored to be on, bro, representing the land of do or die.
Yeah.
So, let's do it.
Yeah. So obviously last night, the Golden State Warriors advanced to their third straight NBA Finals. And the big discussion around here, man, is the dominance of this team, and they add Kevin Durant. What are you and your compadres, your cohort, saying about this reign of dominance that we've seen from Golden State over the last 3 years in particular?
Listen, they're running roughshod through the league, but unless they get another title, man, they're all flash and no substance. They won in the first year. You could put an asterisk next to their name because Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love were hurt. They went 73 wins last year, running rampant, but then got punched in the mouth, didn't respond to the challenge, lost 3 straight in the finals. And now this year, another pretty, sparkling regular season record. You add Kevin Durant, but at the end of the day, if you don't bring home that Larry O'Brien trophy, it doesn't matter. And then that puts the stain on Steph Curry and even Kevin Durant now, who jumped ship from Oklahoma City Thunder team, who was looking good. So unless you bring home that hardware, it's really going to ruin the legacy.
What about the legacy? And speaking of legacies, and we're talking to Lang Green, senior NBA writer, Basketball Insiders on the Doug Stewart Show. What about the legacy of Steve Kerr? Now, we know he has the back injuries and hadn't been able to coach for the most part this entire postseason. But what we're seeing right now to this team is the continuance of dominance with Mike Brown at the head of the calling the plays. In your opinion, does this kind of take away from, I guess, the reputation of the job Steve Kerr has done in Golden State, or is it a situation where he's the guy that actually culminated all the talent and won the championship, so he should still get a lot of credit, even though Mike Brown is pretty much doing the same thing?
Absolutely. I think it takes away from him. Listen, you got to go back a few years. Look at Mark Jackson, who basically took that team of pups with Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Mark Jackson led that team to the playoffs and really set the foundation. He had some disagreements with Bob Myers and the ownership out there with Golden State. They got along better with Steve Kerr from a philosophical standpoint. They bring him in. Steve Kerr takes that team to the next level. But as we saw last year with Luke Walton leading that team for a long stretch of time to a regular season record 73 wins for a big stretch. And now as you get into the playoffs now with Mike Brown, this team hasn't missed a beat yet, undefeated. If they continue the trajectory that they're on, man, and win the title, you have to look at Steve Kerr and say, how important were you to this? Because when I think of the 90s Bulls teams, I think of Michael, Scotty, Dennis, and Phil Jackson at the helm. But can you say that right now with Steve Kerr, with Luke Walton doing what he did last year, with Mark Jackson getting that team to the playoffs, building that team from the pups? Can you say that on Steve Kerr if he doesn't come in and finish the job?
Talking to Lane Green right now on the Doug Stewart Show and Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Let's look at the other side of the coin for the San Antonio Spurs. I'm a Laker fan. I don't know if you knew that or not. I'm a Laker fan. And I just had to kind of look back and look back at the domination that the Spurs have had over the last 15 years. It seems like an era is coming to an end. Tony Parker hurt. Manu Ginobili probably going to retire. When you think of the Spurs and with Popovich and that group of players, talking about Tim Duncan and Ginobili and Parker and those guys have done for the last about 15 years, man, what are your thoughts?
Ambassadors to the game. They really carried the NBA through a rough stretch, but at the same time, all good things come to an end. And I think, the end is never as pretty as it was in the beginning. We saw Tim Duncan kind of limping out the game. We see Tony Parker going down with an injury, Manu Ginobili. This is what we're expecting. I mean, eventually it's going to be Popovich stepping down as coach, and it's going to be Kawhi Leonard and R.C. Buford there in San Antonio. But I've been writing this team off since 2010, 2011, like a lot of other people. In some way, somehow, this team always rises to the challenge. So we'll see what the next chapter is in store. But one thing's for certain, man, they're going to have to get Kawhi Leonard some help on that roster. Because with him going down, David Lee, Pau Gasol, like these guys are older. Patty Mills didn't give you much with Tony Parker going down, team. And I'm letting you know right now, if the Spurs are going to continue, they're going to have a very, very strong offseason and get some new pieces into that mix. Because it doesn't look like LaMarcus Aldridge is the Robin to Kawhi Leonard's Batman.
Finishing up with Lane Green right now, senior NBA writer, Basketball Insiders on the Doug Stewart Show. All right, to the Eastern Conference. Tonight, Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. A very lackluster effort, an incredibly lackluster effort for LeBron James in Game 3 as the Celtics steal one. A lot of discussion. Whenever we start talking about LeBron, the questions and the conversations always go towards the comparison to him and Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Here's the argument that I've been making, and the Stewies, the listeners to the show, mad. Why are we just forgetting about Kobe Bean Bryant? Like, why is LeBron being compared to Jordan? LeBron's a fantastic player. I say top 5 player that I've seen in my lifetime. But why the disrespect in your mind for Vino, for Kobe Bean Bryant?
Hey, man, I said it before and I'll say it again. Kobe Bryant is the closest thing that I've seen to Jordan since Jordan's retired. And I have Jordan as my GOAT, and I have Kobe Bryant right up there in the mix. And obviously, when you start talking about the best players of all time, I'm thinking Michael Jordan has to be in the discussion. Kobe Bryant has to be somewhere in your sphere. And you can't forget about Magic Johnson somewhere in there as well. But LeBron James, when it's all said and done, is playing at an elite level, 14 years in the game. And if he goes at this level for another 3-4 years, racks up another couple titles, I can see people then elevating him above Kobe. You can make an argument now, but I don't think it's necessarily sold. I think it's a good argument. But obviously, he's chasing the ghost. But Game 3 against Boston, foot on neck, you beat this team by 40 points in Game 2. You're going home, and the Celtics lose their best player for the rest of the playoffs. You're cruising up 21, and you don't put foot on neck foot on gas pedal to take that team out. That is something that Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, or Magic Johnson, or Shaq, or whoever else you want to put in the mix, they would not have allowed that Boston Celtics team to come back. And I think that's the separator to a lot of people why LeBron James may never reach the GOAT status.
Yeah. All right, so let's just take for granted, and we're finishing up with Lang Green, senior NBA writer, Basketball Insiders on the Doug Stewart Show. Let's just take for granted that Cleveland's going to find a way to win this series, which they should. And
Right.
You've got a repeat, the third time in a row. You have the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Golden State Warriors. What are your thoughts about that series, man?
Listen, I said it from the beginning. I still have Cleveland in that series unless I can see something else. Yes, Golden State looks great, but LeBron James in history, the teams that have given him the biggest problems, team, is guys with elite rim protectors. And unless you're counting JaVale McGee in that mix, I don't see how the Warriors stop him. Andrew Bogut went out last year. LeBron had a strong game 5, 6, and 7 to close out the Warriors. The teams that have given LeBron trouble in the postseason throughout his career have been teams with centers. Look at Indiana. Roy Hibbert, not necessarily an all-time great, but that rim protection made LeBron think. The San Antonio Spurs teams with Tim Duncan made LeBron think. Even those Boston Celtics teams with Kevin Garnett rim protecting. Or Dwight Howard in 2009, I believe, taking out Cleveland with, Dwight Howard in his prime. Unless the Golden State Warriors get some type of rim protection, I see LeBron having a strong series and taking out Golden State.
That's what's up, man. Lang, how can people see your work online?
Listen, man, you can always check me out on basketballinsiders.com, where I get down 2 times a week there with feature column. And also, man, hit me up on Twitter. I'm one of the most accessible writers around, at Lang Green.
That's what's up. Lang Green, brother, I appreciate your time today, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on, teammate. Mama, I made it.
There he is, Lang Green. Great stuff. Had the issue with his cell phone, obviously. Not coming through correctly, but it was all good. It wasn't that bad where I thought we should cut the call. But said some very good stuff. Kind of echoes some of his older chapter bros sentiments, obviously. About the Golden State Warriors and what it means if they don't win a championship with Kevin Durant, and talked about LeBron and the teams that he's had success with in the past in the finals, and the teams that he hadn't had success with. I think if when it happens, it's going to happen when Cleveland takes on Golden State. It's tough to go against this Golden State team with a Kevin Durant on the mix as well. But I think they got some of the elements, man, in Cleveland where they could shock the world again. Obviously, winning 3 straight games in last year's NBA Finals, they somewhat have the secret, or they have the recipe to beat Golden State. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. But Cleveland got to handle their business tonight. They got to go ahead and stop playing around with the Boston Celtics, who are depleted themselves right now, not having Isaiah Thomas. They need to go ahead and handle their business so they can get some rest and get ready for this finals, because they're going to need all cylinders clicking to take on and win the series against the Golden State Warriors this year. Appreciate my man, Lang Green, for coming on the Doug Stewart Show. Let me jump in the chat on Spreaker.com from RC. He says, and I thought Floyd shut Canelo out, but one of the judges scored the fight a draw. Yeah, that was crazy. That was ridiculous. From Sidney Stoney Jackson, that would be funny as hell if he kicked Floyd in the head and got DQ'd. I read a story about that. I read a story about what would happen, and they talked about, matter of fact, it wasn't a story. I think this was somebody, one of those boxing insiders, and he was talking about the hurdles in getting a contract done. And there's a lot of stuff that they got to go over as far as the language in the contract and what would happen if this particular thing happened or that particular thing happened. And one of the things that's going to be a big issue, and that is a big issue, is the language in the contract about, what would happen, how much money would he lose if McGregor would, in the middle of the fight, revert back to